Zane pressed his face against the cold glass of the spaceship window. His eyes were wide with wonder as he watched the stars zoom by. He was only 12 years old, but today was the biggest day of his life. It was his first trip into space. The ship slowed down as it neared a huge space station. Zane had never seen anything like it before. It looked like a giant metal flower floating in space. Its petals were actually long docking arms where spaceships could land. "Wow," Zane whispered. He couldn't believe he was really here. A voice came over the ship's speakers. "Attention all passengers. We are now approaching Galactic Hub Station. Please prepare for docking." Zane's stomach did a little flip. He was excited, but also a bit scared. He had never met an alien before. What would they be like? The ship docked with a gentle bump. Zane grabbed his backpack and joined the line of people heading for the exit. He took a deep breath and stepped out into the station. The first thing Zane noticed was how big everything was. The ceiling was so high he could barely see it. The walls were shiny and covered in blinking lights, and everywhere he looked, there were aliens. He saw tall, thin aliens with blue skin. He saw short, furry aliens that looked like walking teddy bears. He even saw a group of aliens that seemed to be made of pure light. Zane felt very small and very human. He clutched his backpack tighter and started walking. He didn't know where he was going, but he didn't want to look lost. As he walked, Zane noticed something strange. The aliens all seemed to be avoiding him. When he got close, they would step away or turn their backs. Some even made angry noises when they saw him. Zane felt confused and a little hurt. What had he done wrong? He stopped to look at a big map on the wall. Maybe he could find the visitor center and ask for help. But the map was written in a language he didn't understand. The symbols looked like squiggly lines and dots. "Excuse me," Zane said to a nearby alien. It looked like a giant caterpillar with dozens of eyes. "Can you help me read this map?" The alien's eyes all blinked at once. Then it made a loud hissing noise and quickly slithered away. Zane felt tears starting to form in his eyes. He didn't understand why everyone was being so mean. He wiped his eyes with his sleeve. No, he wouldn't cry. He was 12 now, almost a teenager. He could figure this out on his own. He started walking again, this time with more purpose. He would find someone who could help him, no matter what. As he walked, Zane started to notice patterns in the alien writing. He saw the same symbols repeating in different places. Maybe if he looked carefully, he could figure out what they meant. After a few minutes, he realized that one symbol always appeared next to arrows. It must mean this way too in the alien language. Zane felt a spark of excitement. He had figured something out all by himself. Maybe he wasn't so out of place here after all. He followed the arrows, looking for any symbols that might mean information or help. It wasn't easy, but Zane didn't give up. He knew that if he kept trying, he would find a way. Finally, after what felt like hours of walking, Zane saw a familiar symbol. It looked like a question mark, but with extra squiggles. Next to it was an arrow pointing down a hallway. Zane's heart beat faster as he turned down the hall. At the end, he saw a large desk with a glowing sign above it. The sign had the question mark symbol and some alien writing. This must be the information desk. Behind the desk sat a strange alien. It had purple skin and 3 eyes arranged in a triangle on its face. Instead of arms, it had long tentacles that moved quickly over a complex-looking computer. Zane took a deep breath and walked up to the desk. This was his chance to get some answers and maybe make a friend. "Hello," he said in his most polite voice. "My name is Zane. I'm new here and I was hoping you could help me." The alien's 3 eyes all turned to look at Zane. For a moment, there was silence. Then the alien's mouth opened, revealing rows of sharp teeth. Zane gulped. What would happen next? The alien behind the desk looked at Zane with its 3 eyes. Its mouth closed, hiding the sharp teeth. Then it spoke in a voice that sounded like bubbles popping. "Human child," it said, "why are you here?" Zane stood up straight. He tried to look brave, even though his heart was beating fast. "I'm here to learn about the galaxy," he said. "I want to meet new species and see amazing things." The alien's tentacles waved in the air. It made a sound like a sigh. "Humans are not welcome here," it said. "You are too young as a species, too primitive." Zane felt like someone had punched him in the stomach. But that's not fair," he said. "How can you say that without even giving me a chance?" The alien's eyes blinked one at a time. "It is the way things are," it said. "Humans have only just learned to leave their planet. You know nothing of galactic society." Zane clenched his fists. He was angry now, but also determined. "That's why I'm here," he said. "To learn." "How can we learn if you won't let us try?" The alien seemed surprised by Zane's words. Its tentacles stopped moving for a moment. Then it leaned forward. "You are different from what I expected," it said. "But rules are rules. I cannot help you." Zane felt tears in his eyes again, but he blinked them away. He wouldn't cry. He wouldn't give up. "Please," he said, "there must be something I can do to prove humans belong here. Some kind of test." The alien was quiet for a long time. Its eyes looked at Zane, then at the computer, then back at Zane. Finally, it spoke. "There is no test," it said, "but perhaps we could make one." Zane's heart leaped. This was his chance. "Yes," he said, "I'll take any test you want. I'll show you what humans can do." The alien's mouth opened in what might have been a smile. "Very well," it said. "3 tests. If you pass them all, you may stay on the station. If you fail even one, you must leave immediately. Do you accept?" Zane didn't hesitate. "I accept," he said. The alien nodded. "The first test will begin now," it said. "Follow me." It stood up, revealing a body like a giant snail without a shell. It moved slowly towards a door behind the desk. Zane followed, his mind racing. What kind of test would it be? What if he failed? But he pushed those thoughts away. He had to focus. He had to win, not just for himself, but for all humans. The alien led him into a small room. The walls were covered in blinking lights and strange symbols. In the center was a pedestal with a glowing ball on top. "This is a standard data interface," the alien said. "Your test is simple. Access the station's public information network and find the answer to this question. What is the average lifespan of a Zorlak?" Zane looked at the glowing ball. He had no idea how to use it. He didn't even know what a Zorlak was. But he remembered what his dad always said. When you don't know what to do, start by doing what you do know. He knew how to ask questions. So he did. Mr. Alien," he said, "how do I touch the ball? Is it safe?" The alien's eyes widened. "You may touch it with your hands," it said. "It will not harm you." Zane nodded. He reached out and put his hand on the ball. It felt warm and tingly. Suddenly, lights flashed in his mind. He saw strange symbols and images. It was overwhelming. But then he remembered something else his dad said. "Take a deep breath and look for patterns." So Zane did. He took a deep breath and looked closely at the lights in his mind. Slowly, he began to see patterns. The symbols started to make sense. He didn't know how long he stood there, hand on the ball, mind racing through alien data. But suddenly, he knew the answer. The average lifespan of a Zorlak is 342 standard galactic years, he said. The alien's tentacles waved in surprise. "That is correct," it said. "How did you do that?" Zane smiled. "I just looked for patterns," he said. "And I didn't give up." The alien was quiet for a moment. Then it said, "Very well. You have passed the first test, but do not celebrate yet. The second test will be much harder." Zane nodded. He was tired, but excited. He had done it. He had passed the first test. As he followed the alien out of the room, Zane felt hope growing inside him. Maybe, just maybe, He could do this. Maybe he could show the galaxy what humans were really capable of. The adventure was just beginning. Zane followed the alien down a long, twisting hallway. His heart was still racing from passing the first test, but he knew the next one would be even harder. They stopped in front of a large metal door. The alien turned its 3 eyes to look at Zane. "Human child," it said, "are you ready for your second test?" Zane took a deep breath and nodded. "I'm ready," he said, trying to sound braver than he felt. The alien's tentacles waved in a pattern that might have been a shrug. "Very well," it said. "Enter." The door slid open with a soft hiss. Zane stepped inside and gasped. He was in a huge room filled with aliens of all shapes and sizes. They were talking, arguing, and making strange noises. It was like a giant, weird party. The alien guide followed him in. "This is the Galactic Cultural Exchange," it said. "Your test is to learn 3 important facts about 3 different alien cultures. You have 1 hour." Zane's eyes widened. "But how?" he asked. "I don't even know where to start." The alien's mouth opened in what might have been a smile. "That," it said, "is part of the test." Then it slithered away, leaving Zane alone in the crowded room. For a moment, Zane felt panic rising in his chest. There were so many aliens, all so different and strange. How could he possibly talk to them? Then he remembered something his teacher once said. The first step to understanding is listening. So Zane took a deep breath and started to listen. He walked slowly through the room, paying attention to the conversations around him. At first, it was all just noise. But then he started to notice patterns. Some aliens spoke in ways he could understand. Others used translators that turned their words into English. Zane spotted a group of furry, cat-like aliens talking about food. He walked over, his heart pounding. Excuse me," he said. "I'm Zane. I'm new here, and I'm trying to learn about different cultures. Could you tell me about yours?" The cat aliens looked at him with big green eyes. Then one of them purred and said, "Of course, little human. We are the Felinians. Did you know we have 6 types of taste buds? It makes our cooking very interesting." Zane smiled and asked more questions. Before he knew it, he had learned 3 facts about Felinian culture. Excited by his success, Zane moved on. He talked to tall, tree-like aliens who told him about their photosynthesis rituals. He chatted with small, robot-like beings who explained their binary language. Time flew by as Zane explored the room, meeting new species and learning amazing things. He was so busy talking and listening that he almost forgot it was a test. Suddenly, a loud bell rang. Zane jumped. Had it been an hour already? The alien guide appeared next to him. "Time's up, human child," it said. "What have you learned?" Zane took a deep breath and started talking. He told the alien about Felinian taste buds, tree alien photosynthesis, and robot alien binary code. He shared facts about 5 different species, more than the 3 required. As he talked, Zane noticed the alien's eyes getting wider and wider. Its tentacles waved in patterns he hadn't seen before. When Zane finished, there was a long moment of silence. Then the alien said, "That is impressive. You have passed the second test." Zane felt a huge smile spread across his face. He had done it again. But before he could celebrate, the alien held up a tentacle. "Do not get too excited," it said. "The final test will be the most difficult of all. It will test not just your mind, but your heart." Zane's smile faded a little. What could the final test be? But he stood up straight and looked the alien in its 3 eyes. "I'm ready," he said. "Whatever the test is, I'll do my best." The alien nodded. "We shall see," it said. "Follow me to your final challenge." As Zane followed the alien out of the room, he felt a mix of excitement and fear. He had come so far. He couldn't give up now. Whatever the final test was, Zane was determined to show the galaxy what humans could do. Zane followed the three-eyed alien down another long corridor. His legs were tired, but his mind was racing. What would the final test be? They stopped in front of a door that looked different from the others. It was made of a strange, swirling material that seemed to change colors as Zane looked at it. The alien turned to Zane. "Human child," it said, "beyond this door lies your final challenge. Are you prepared?" Zane took a deep breath and nodded. "I'm ready," he said, trying to keep his voice from shaking. The alien's tentacles waved in a complex pattern. The door dissolved, revealing a room unlike anything Zane had ever seen. The room was huge, with a high domed ceiling that looked like a starry sky. In the center stood a tall pillar of light. Around it, floating in midair, were hundreds of strange objects. They looked like puzzle pieces, but they glowed and moved on their own. "This," said the alien, "is the galactic harmony engine. It keeps peace between all species in the galaxy, but it has a problem. Can you fix it?" Zane's eyes widened. "Fix it?" he asked. "But I don't even know how it works." The alien's three eyes blinked in sequence. "That," it said, "is the challenge. You have 1 hour. Good luck, human child." With that, the alien slithered out of the room. The door reappeared behind it, leaving Zane alone with the strange machine. For a moment, Zane felt like crying. This was impossible. How could he fix something he didn't understand? But then he remembered what his mom always said. When a problem seems too big, break it into smaller pieces. Zane took a deep breath and looked closely at the floating objects. He noticed that some of them were moving towards the pillar of light, while others were moving away. "Okay," he said to himself. "Let's start with the ones moving towards the light." He reached out and touched one of the glowing objects. As soon as his fingers made contact, a flood of information filled his mind. He saw images of alien worlds, heard strange languages, felt emotions that weren't his own. Zane gasped and pulled his hand back. The object continued floating towards the light. "Wow," he whispered. Then he smiled. "Okay, I think I get it. These things are carrying information to the engine." With new excitement, Zane started touching more objects. Each one gave him a glimpse of a different alien culture. Some were happy, some were sad, some were angry. As he worked, Zane noticed something strange. The objects that were moving away from the light felt wrong somehow. They were filled with anger and fear. "That's it," Zane said. "The engine is supposed to create harmony, but these bad feelings are messing it up." He looked at the pillar of light, then back at the angry objects. An idea started to form in his mind. Zane closed his eyes and thought about all the good things he had learned about the aliens he had met. The Felinians with their amazing sense of taste, the tree aliens with their beautiful photosynthesis rituals, the friendly robot aliens who spoke in binary. Then he reached out and touched one of the angry objects. At first, nothing happened. But then, slowly, the object started to change. The angry feelings faded, replaced by curiosity and hope. Zane opened his eyes and grinned. The object was now moving towards the light. With new determination, Zane got to work. He moved from object to object, sharing the positive things he had learned about different aliens. Slowly but surely, the angry objects began to change. Time flew by as Zane worked. He was so focused that he didn't notice the door opening behind him. Suddenly, a tentacle tapped his shoulder. Zane jumped and turned around. The three-eyed alien was back, and it wasn't alone. Behind it stood a group of important-looking aliens of different species. "Time's up, human child," said the three-eyed alien. "Let's see what you've done." Zane held his breath as the aliens examined the galactic harmony engine. Had he done enough, or had he failed the final test? The aliens talked among themselves in languages Zane couldn't understand. Then, one by one, they turned to look at him. The three-eyed alien spoke. "Human child," it said, You have done something unexpected. Zane's heart sank. Had he messed everything up? But then the alien's mouth opened in what was definitely a smile. You have not just fixed the engine, it said. You have improved it. Zane's eyes widened. Really? He asked. But how? The alien's tentacles waved in an excited pattern. By sharing positive knowledge between cultures, it said. You have created new connections, new understanding. This is unprecedented. Zane felt a huge smile spread across his face. He had done it. He had passed the final test. But as the aliens continued to talk excitedly around him, Zane realized something. This wasn't just about passing a test anymore. He had done something important, something that could help the whole galaxy. For the first time since he arrived on the station, Zane felt like he truly belonged. Zane's success with the galactic harmony engine had caused quite a stir. The group of important-looking aliens were all talking at once, their voices a mix of clicks, whistles, and rumbles. The three-eyed alien raised its tentacles for silence. Human child, it said to Zane, you have impressed us. But there is still one more test. Zane blinked in surprise. Another test. But I thought the engine was the final challenge. The alien's three eyes blinked in sequence. That was the final challenge we had planned, it admitted. But your unexpected solution has led us to add one more. Are you ready? Zane felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. What could this new test be? But he nodded bravely. I'm ready, he said. The alien gestured with its tentacles, and a holographic screen appeared in the air. On it, Zane could see images of different alien species, all looking angry or upset. These are representatives from 10 different worlds, the alien explained. They are in conflict over the use of a newly discovered space resource. Your task is to find a peaceful solution that satisfies everyone. Zane's eyes widened. This wasn't just a test anymore. This was real galactic diplomacy. But how can I do that? He asked. I don't know anything about their worlds or this resource. The three-eyed alien's mouth curved in what might have been a smile. That's part of the challenge, it said. You have 1 hour to learn what you need and propose a solution. You may use the station's information network. Good luck. With that, the alien and its companions left the room, leaving Zane alone with the holographic screen. For a moment, Zane felt overwhelmed. This was way bigger than anything he had faced before, but then he remembered how he had solved the engine problem. He just needed to break this down into smaller pieces. Okay, he said to himself. First, let's learn about these aliens and their worlds. Zane walked over to the glowing ball that served as the station's information interface. He placed his hand on it, and immediately, information began flowing into his mind. He learned about the Zorgans, rock-like aliens who needed the new resource for food. He discovered the Floatians, gas-based beings who wanted to use it for art. He found out about the mechanoids, who saw the resource as a key to advancing their technology. As Zane absorbed more information, he started to see connections. Each species needed the resource for something important to their culture, but they all saw it differently. That's it, Zane exclaimed. They're all looking at it from their own point of view. They need to understand each other. With newfound enthusiasm, Zane dived back into the information network. He searched for examples of cooperation between different species, looking for ideas he could use. Time flew by as Zane worked. Before he knew it, the door opened, and the group of aliens returned. Time's up, human child, the three-eyed alien said. What solution do you propose? Zane took a deep breath and stepped up to the holographic screen. He looked at the images of the angry alien representatives and began to speak. The problem isn't the resource, he said. It's understanding. Each species sees it differently because of their unique needs and culture. So my solution is this: create a cultural exchange program. The aliens looked at each other in confusion. Zane continued, his confidence growing. Each world sends representatives to live on the other's planets for a while. They learn about each other's cultures and needs. Then, they work together to find ways to use the resource that benefit everyone. Zane pointed to the screen. The Zorgans could learn how to grow the resource as food. The Flotians could teach others to appreciate its artistic value. The mechanoids could develop technology to make it more efficient for everyone to use. As Zane spoke, he noticed the aliens' expressions changing. The anger was fading, replaced by curiosity and interest. By understanding each other, Zane concluded they can find ways to share the resource that make everyone happy. And maybe they'll discover new uses for it that nobody has thought of yet. When Zane finished, there was silence. He held his breath, waiting for the aliens' response. Then, one by one, the aliens began to nod. They turned to each other, talking excitedly. The three-eyed alien's tentacles waved in a pattern Zane now recognized as approval. "Human child," it said, "your solution is innovative, unexpected. It addresses not just the immediate problem, but future conflicts as well." Zane felt a huge smile spread across his face. He had done it. But the alien wasn't finished. "You have passed this final test," it said. "But more than that, you have shown us something important about humans. Perhaps we have underestimated your species." As the words sank in, Zane realized he had done more than just pass a test. He had changed how these aliens saw all of humanity. For the first time since arriving on the station, Zane felt truly proud to be human. Zane stood tall, feeling proud of what he had accomplished. He had passed all the tests and shown the aliens that humans were worthy of respect. But as he looked at the group of aliens surrounding him, he noticed they were exchanging meaningful glances. The three-eyed alien stepped forward. "Human child," it said, its voice serious. "You have done well. But there is one final challenge." Zane's heart sank. Another test. What more could they want from him? But he took a deep breath and nodded. "Okay," he said. "What is it?" The alien's tentacles waved in a complex pattern. Suddenly, the room around them changed. The walls disappeared, replaced by a view of space. Zane gasped as he realized they were now standing on a transparent platform, floating among the stars. "This," said the alien, "is the heart of the galaxy. It is here that the most important decisions are made." The alien pointed to a large, glowing orb floating nearby. "That is the cosmic choice sphere. It holds the power to change the fate of entire civilizations." Zane's eyes widened. He had never imagined something so important could exist. The alien continued, "Your final test is this. You must make a choice that will affect not just humanity, but all species in the galaxy." With a wave of its tentacle, 3 holographic images appeared in front of Zane. The first showed Earth, but it was different. Cleaner, more advanced. "This path will give humanity advanced technology," the alien explained. "Your species will solve its problems and join the galactic community quickly." The second image showed humans on many different planets. "This path will grant humanity the ability to colonize many worlds," said the alien. "Your species will spread across the stars." The third image was strangest of all. It showed aliens of all kinds living on Earth, with humans among them. "This path will make Earth a center of galactic culture," the alien said. "Your world will become a meeting place for all species." Zane looked at each image, his mind racing. Each choice seemed amazing, but he knew there had to be a catch. "What's the downside?" he asked. "There's always a downside in big choices like this." The alien's eyes blinked in what might have been surprise. "Wise question," it said. "Yes, there are consequences." It pointed to the first image. "Advanced technology might solve your problems, but it could also make your species arrogant and isolated." The second image. "Colonizing worlds would spread humanity, but it might lead to conflicts with other species over territory." And the third. "Making Earth a galactic center would bring great knowledge and diversity, but it might also mean humans lose some of their unique culture." Zane stared at the images, feeling the weight of the choice on his shoulders. This wasn't just about him anymore. This was about the future of all humanity. He thought about everything he had learned since coming to the station, about the importance of understanding different cultures, about finding creative solutions to problems. Then, Zane had an idea, a crazy, impossible idea. But maybe, just maybe, it could work. He looked up at the three-eyed alien. What if I choose none of these? He asked. The alien's tentacles froze in mid-wave. None, it repeated. But you must choose. That is the test. Zane shook his head. No, he said, feeling braver than he ever had before. The real test is realizing that we shouldn't make this choice at all. He pointed at the images. These are all amazing futures, but they're not futures we've earned. They're shortcuts, and shortcuts don't always lead to the best destinations. Zane turned to face all the aliens. Humans need to find our own path, he said. We need to solve our own problems, explore space in our own way, and decide for ourselves what role we'll play in the galaxy. He looked at the cosmic choice sphere. It's not right for anyone to change the fate of a whole civilization. Even with good intentions, we all need to make our own choices and learn from them. There was a long moment of silence. Zane held his breath, wondering if he had made a huge mistake. Then, slowly, the three-eyed alien's mouth curved into a smile. Human child, it said, you have wisdom beyond your years. The other aliens started nodding and making sounds of approval. You are right, the three-eyed alien said. The true test was to see if you would recognize the responsibility that comes with such power. You have passed in a way we never expected. As the words sank in, Zane felt a mix of relief and amazement. He had done it. He had passed the final test. But more than that, he had stayed true to what he believed was right. And in doing so, he had shown the aliens the true strength of humanity. The space around Zane and the aliens shimmered, and suddenly they were back in the original room on the space station. Zane blinked, adjusting to the change. It felt like he had been gone for days, but it had only been a few hours. The three-eyed alien turned to face the group. We have witnessed something extraordinary today, it announced. This human child has shown wisdom, creativity, and moral strength beyond our expectations. The other aliens nodded and made sounds of agreement. Zane felt his face grow warm with pride and embarrassment. But the three-eyed alien continued. We must now decide what this means for humanity's place in the galactic community. Zane held his breath. This was the moment of truth. Had he really changed their minds about humans? The aliens huddled together, talking in low voices. Zane couldn't understand what they were saying, but he saw a lot of tentacle waving and eye blinking. Finally, they turned back to face him. The three-eyed alien stepped forward. Zane of Earth, it said formally, we have reached a decision. Based on your performance in the tests, and especially your choice in the final challenge, we hereby grant humanity probationary membership in the Galactic Alliance. Zane's eyes widened. Probationary membership, he asked. What does that mean? The alien's mouth curved in what Zane now recognized as a smile. It means that humans will be allowed to visit this station and others like it. You will be able to learn from other species and share your own knowledge. But full membership, with all its rights and responsibilities, must still be earned over time. Zane nodded slowly. It made sense. They were giving humans a chance, but not just handing over everything at once. That sounds fair, he said. There is more, the alien continued. We would like you, Zane, to be humanity's first official representative to the Galactic Alliance. Zane's jaw dropped. Me, he squeaked. But I'm just a kid. The alien's tentacles waved in amusement. You have shown wisdom beyond your years, it said. And your youth gives you a unique perspective that we value. Of course, you will have adult advisors to help you, but we believe you are the right choice to help guide humanity's first steps into the wider galaxy. Zane felt overwhelmed. This was so much bigger than anything he had imagined when he first came to the station. But as he thought about it, Excitement began to build inside him. He, Zane, could help shape humanity's future in space. He could help Earth learn from alien cultures and share the best of human culture with them. He could be a bridge between worlds. Zane stood up straight and looked the three-eyed alien in all three of its eyes. "I accept," he said, his voice strong and clear. "I'll do my best to represent humanity and help us find our place in the galaxy." The alien nodded approvingly. "Then it is settled," it said. "Welcome, Zane of Earth, to the Galactic Alliance." The room erupted in a cacophony of alien cheers and congratulations. Zane felt dizzy with happiness and excitement. As the aliens crowded around him, shaking his hand or touching him with tentacles in what he assumed were alien gestures of congratulation, Zane's mind raced with all the possibilities ahead. He thought about all the amazing things he would learn, all the incredible aliens he would meet. He imagined telling his parents and friends back on Earth about his adventures. But most of all, he thought about all the ways he could help humanity grow and find its place among the stars. It wouldn't be easy. There would be challenges and misunderstandings along the way. But Zane knew that with patience, creativity, and an open mind, humans could overcome any obstacle. As he looked around at the diverse group of aliens, all celebrating together, Zane felt a deep sense of belonging. He had come to this station feeling small and out of place. Now he stood tall, proud to be human, and excited to be part of something so much bigger than himself. Zane grinned. This wasn't the end of his adventure. It was just the beginning. And he couldn't wait to see what the galaxy had in store for him, for humanity, and for all the amazing species he had yet to meet. The future was bright, and it was full of stars, and Zane was ready to explore every single one of them.